How bad does a marriage need to be for a birthday dinner to turn murderous? Maybe it was the pressures and tension brought on by the nationwide COVID lockdown. Maybe it was decades of coercive control and outright physical abuse. Maybe this couple takes their bubble and squeak too seriously. This is the story of Penelope Jackson, the 66-year-old retired accountant who, by her own words, had just had enough.
Penelope, my advice is don't talk about it now, okay?
No, I have no intention of not agreeing to what I've done.
Okay.
I know what I've done.
All right.
And I know why I've done it. And if I haven't done it properly, I'm really annoyed.
Hi all, I'm Kevin and this is Just Thought Lounge. Today we're taking a look at a very recent case that has just gone through trial and sentencing in England. A woman who has claimed years of intermittent abuse from her husband and finally just lost her patience and stabbed him to death. Penelope, or Penny Jackson, was a wife of over 20 years, a mother, and a retired accountant, so not our typical murderer. But perhaps the most fascinating and certainly most chilling aspect of Penny's case is the disassociated and seemingly unforgiving way she attacked her husband, followed by her flippant, even callous behavior after the act. So without further delay, let's dive in. Barrow in Somerset is a small coastal village and a popular holiday spot in southwest England. It sits about an hour drive from Bristol, which is the closest major city centre. It's also half an hour from Glastonbury, an area made famous by their music festival. It is here in Barrow where Penelope and David Jackson will eventually settle. Before meeting David, a lieutenant colonel in the British Army, Penelope married her first husband at the age of 18 and had 2 daughters with him. She left this first marriage after claiming he had turned violent. Penny would marry again twice before meeting David Jackson. According to what was stated in court, Penelope's second husband was gay, and her third marriage would end when her husband took his own life. He did so after learning of an affair that Penny had been carrying on with David Jackson. Penny's youngest daughter, Isabel, was fathered by her third husband, but was raised by David as his own and later adopted by him. David Jackson's relationship history was also a bit scandalous. David had 3 children from his first marriage, which also ended when he started an affair. Not with Penelope, however, but with a woman named Sheila Taylor. The second marriage would fail again due to an affair. This time, it was with Penelope. Sheila learned of David's affair with Penny when she called their home one evening and demanded to speak with David. Sheila would later recount that David hung up the call white and shaking and revealed that he had been having the affair, but that it was over. Penny had insisted he tell Sheila about their relationship, leave the marriage, and then begin a new life with her. While David initially chose Sheila, they ultimately ended up divorcing in 1996, and David went on to marry Penny. David and Penny had met at work. Penelope, a qualified accountant, had made a career working in the administration and accounts for the Royal Air Force and then later the Army. Here she met the dashing David, who had progressed through the ranks from private to lieutenant colonel. After marrying, the two would live together abroad in Germany and France before returning to England and settling in their bungalow in the small town of Barrow. It was Penny's 66th birthday on the 13th of February 2021. England remained under lockdown orders due to the COVID-19 pandemic, so the couple was celebrating at home with a nice dinner in the company of their daughter and son-in-law via Zoom call. Their daughter Isabel and her husband Tom Potterton had purchased a gourmet meal for the two as a special treat. During the dinner, an argument broke out when Penelope decides to serve a dish of bubble and squeak as a side to their gourmet meal. For our non-British audience, bubble and squeak is a dish made of potatoes and cabbage fried together into a kind of patty. It is not a high-end dish. The couple's daughter and son-in-law observed the beginnings of the argument. They said they believed that tensions had calmed and the dispute had passed, but then the Zoom call ended when the Jacksons began arguing over who failed to properly charge the computer. The call may have ended, but tensions would only escalate. In the moments following dinner, Penelope Jackson would lose control, grab a kitchen knife, and use it to stab and kill her husband of 24 years. He managed to call the emergency line 999, but Penny then takes the phone and stabs him twice more, while connected to the operator on the other end. The call would last 18 minutes in total until the police arrived.
Well, I might just go and stab him again, but...
Alright, do not stab him again.
Why?
Okay, so just listen to my voice. Okay?
Yes.
Stay on the line with me.
I am complimented.
Okay, are you with the patient now?
Well, I'm in the lounge and he's in the kitchen bleeding to death with any luck.
Alright, so just stay on the line with me.
Look, this is not, you're not paid enough to do with this. It's not fair.
Okay, well, ultimately, madam, I'm listening to your voice, and you're the help I have available, so we need to help him, okay?
No, I'm not.
All right, madam,
I don't
how
want
many
you
times
to
have you stabbed him?
I did the once,
You did the once?
and then he said I wouldn't do it again, so I did it twice more.
So, okay. So, in total, how many times?
3 times.
3 times, okay.
Once I thought I'd get his heart, well, he hasn't got one, and then twice in the abdomen.
The early years of their marriage were marked by a handful of tumultuous incidents. In 1996, the same year that David and Penelope wed, David's son Gavin took his own life. Gavin was married and his wife was pregnant at the time. Sheila Taylor, David's second wife, recounted that Gavin was having an affair at the time. He left a suicide note saying that he didn't want to be like his father. The loss of his son under these circumstances left David in a depressive state. He was described as a broken man. Before receiving treatment and counseling to address his illness, he acted out in years following, targeting his wife Penny in particular. According to their daughter Isabel, around 1997 or 98, when they were living in Germany, there were 3 incidents in total of what were deemed serious aggression by her father against her mother. She said that David had forced Penny against a wall and given her a bloody nose, and had also pulled a knife on her in a separate incident. In the 3rd incident, her father got Isabel out of bed, told her to get a mug she had purchased for her mother for Mother's Day out of its hiding place, and smashed it in front of her. Aside from these incidents early on in their marriage, there were arguments, of course, but all signs indicate that Penny had forgiven David for his behavior in Germany, and the marriage had proceeded, relatively happily, for another 2 decades. Isabel reported that her parents seemed to be enjoying a happy retirement. They had many shared interests, including a love of cruise holidays and gardening. How do we reconcile this with the woman who, in body camera footage on the night of the 13th of February 2021, confesses to stabbing her husband and, in a disassociated and emotionless sequence, asks paramedics not to rush inside the house to give her dead or dying husband CPR? Instead, she says, "I should have stabbed him more."
Hey madam, do you need to step outside for me a minute? Can you come outside?
Yes.
Thank
Can I
you.
get my coat on? He's on the kitchen floor.
Okay, at this moment in time, okay, if you just listen to my colleague, under arrest suspicion of attempt murder, mate.
Under arrest with suspicion of attempt murder. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned anything you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
I'll go in and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Could I get my coat?
Just bear with me 2 seconds.
In there. I admit it all.
Alright.
My coat's in the...
Yeah, just
Ow,
wait
it's a
2
bit
seconds.
hot.
Alright, you okay? You alright?
With any luck, they'll be too late.
Alright.
Right, get the ambulance in. Pronto, we need
Oh,
CPR.
don't. No, please don't.
Yeah, we need
Oh,
the
I should
ambulance
have
in.
stabbed him a bit more.
We've got CPR being done at the moment.
What Penelope confesses to on the evening of the attack is manslaughter, not murder, though this is the charge that she would later face. Her position was that after years of him being a bully, she simply could not take it anymore, and in a fit of passion or anger, she stabbed him to death. Before the call to emergency services, Penny rapidly recorded a brief written confession. In it, she says she has taken so much abuse over the years and to see her record from Germany. She also says that night her husband's mask slipped off. That was, in her mind, unforgivable. She states she will accept her punishment and may he rot in hell.
Yes. I stabbed him. Once. Because he's a... He's an aggressive bully and nasty, and I've had enough. Coat's in.
What colour's your
go
coat?
in the front. In the front.
Yeah.
Grey wardrobe.
Okay, it might be a while, all right, but I'll try and get. There's obviously a lot going on. Okay.
Oh, with any luck, it'll be too late.
Penelope, my advice is don't talk about it now. Okay.
No, I have no intention of not agreeing to what I've done.
Okay.
I know what I've done.
All right.
And I know why I've done it. And if I haven't done it properly, I'm really annoyed.
The argument over the bubble and Squeak had tipped her over the edge. She said it wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back, but it was in the bundle. Penelope claimed that her husband had coercively controlled her, including preventing her from seeing her friends and even deciding what she watched on TV. Penny said that David was often violent following arguments and that he would escalate things, often shaking her. Penny also said that she had been strangled by David more than once to the point of falling unconscious. Other times she was rendered semi-conscious and would just lay on the bed or on the floor. If David was really angry, he would kick her. That night, after dinner, she had retreated back to the bedroom. When she emerged, it was to confront David and ask for an apology. She wanted him to say, "I'm sorry, Pen." And instead, he said, "For God's sake, you're pathetic."
All right, Penny. I'm further arresting you for murder.
Oh, good.
I've already cautioned you,
Yes.
so your necessities for your arrest is for a prompt and effective investigation
Yep.
and stop further harm.
Sorry, that one's a bit tight.
So
This
Penny,
one's
We're gonna
We're going to move them to the rear in a
minute.
moment. The DO's just come out to check your temperature, and then we'll move you in. And then
Mind
we'll
your
go
head.
from there. Just stay there for the time being.
all right. I wouldn't buy my slippers.
All right.
I'm not
Do you want her out?
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Just step out. Mind your head.
Yeah. Rightio. I'm very sorry for being a nuisance.
No, we just got to take a temperature, okay?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be just really great. Get COVID on the top of this.
When she was arrested for murder, she replied, "It's murder now, not attempted murder? Oh, good." Her emotionally disassociated confession captured on a body cam and flippant remarks while on the phone with an emergency operator certainly suggested to some that she was calculated and knew exactly what she was doing. At trial, she would testify that she took the kitchen knife into the bedroom with the intention of hurting herself. She said, "I don't think I wanted to kill my husband. I wanted to kill myself." And he said, "Go on then. Hurry up or go back to bed. You're pathetic." Through tears, she continued, "I don't know what happened. I didn't want to kill him. I did it. I'm sorry. I didn't want him to die. He loved me and I loved him, and it's awful about what happened. I was in hell for a lot of my marriage. If I had been the normal Penny, I would not have done it. I'm sorry. I lost the plot and lost control."
Well, there was no reaction from Penelope Jackson as the jury of 4 men and 8 women found her guilty of her husband's murder.
Jurors in Penelope's trial decided that despite the allegations of abuse, she was in control of her actions on the evening she killed her husband. Penelope was given a minimum term of 18 years in prison, a sentence that was received with gasps of shock and disbelief in the courtroom. The judge found that during the 4 days giving evidence at trial, she had not shown a shred of remorse. This, despite her statements on the witness stand apologizing for the attack. As evidence in trial, phone camera footage taken by Penny of an argument she had with David that Christmas was shown. David was threatening to leave and, in his anger, broke the glass on a door leading to their conservatory. The judge claimed that far from supporting her assertion that she lived in fear of him, that this argument in fact only demonstrated how she would goad and torment him. Indeed, after he left that night, she contacted him and asked him to come back. There was then a very happy family Christmas spent with Isabel and Tom. Penelope's 18-year sentence has proved controversial. UK-based Centre for Women's Justice released a statement that said that the majority jury verdict and harsh sentence of the judge shows that there is a long way to go before victims of coercive and controlling behavior can get justice and the understanding they deserve. The organization also made a comparison to another case in which a pensioner, happily married for decades, killed his partner during COVID-19 lockdown, seemingly in a temporary state of rage and confusion. Anthony argued diminished responsibility for the act and was convicted only of manslaughter. He was sentenced to just 5 years in prison, less than a third of the sentence handed down to Penny. Penny was 66 years old when sentenced in October 2021, which will make her eligible for release when she is 84. What do you think? Was this a case of coercive control, or does Penelope writing her confession note and stating her intentions with so much confidence make this a case of clear-minded murder? With that in mind, how do you feel about her receiving an 18-year sentence? Clearly, we know that COVID-19 and extended lockdowns has had a detrimental impact on a lot of people's mental well-being. Unfortunately, that seems to have also contributed to increased tensions at home and potential domestic violence. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you all for joining me today. My name is Kevin, this is Just Thought Lounge, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh, I should have stabbed him a bit more.
CPR being done at the moment.
Yeah.